As a college student, we tend to overbook our schedules and not have a ton of time for our classwork. This is a constant problem that I face every time I call home to talk to my parents. My name's Leah Sherman, and I'm a junior communication major at SUNY Geneseo. Conflict can mean a lot of things, but as a communication phenomenon, conflict occurs when there are incompatible goals, when there's an absence of resources, or when there's an interference in achieving one's objectives. Conflict can be a very scary thing for some people to overcome or even to encounter. However, conflict is inevitable, and it's impossible to avoid. Understanding the factors that lead to conflict can help us intervene earlier and mediate the conflict before it gets out of hand. Some of these factors include 1. Triggers, 2. The use of power, and 3. Common pitfalls. First, let's discuss how triggers play a role in conflict. Triggers are actions or words that create a form of tension between two or more people. The top 4 triggers of conflict are criticism, demand, cumulative annoyance, and rejection. Criticism can be constructive or destructive. When criticism is perceived in a destructive manner, it can often lead directly to conflict. This also occurs when people receive demands. For example, when your parents ask you to clean your room right then and there, it often leads you to be frustrated and put in a conflict with your parents. Cumulative annoyance is the buildup of frustration and anger over time. For example, when your friend constantly shows up late to pick you up for school, you don't say anything the first couple of times, but as your anger and frustration build up, you get very angry and she doesn't expect it. Lastly, rejection. Let's be honest, no one likes feeling rejected or unwanted. That's a summary of our triggers that lead to conflict. Now, let's talk about power. Power is one of the largest driving factors of conflict, especially in the way that people express their type of power. Power is the capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or a course of events. It's important to note that, unlike how we usually use the word, power isn't bad. Everyone has power, and we need power to make things happen. It's how we use our power and what we use it for that matters. As we'll see when we discuss the different power bases, there are 6 bases for which a person can assert or perceive the use of power: legitimate, reward, expert, referent, coercive, and informational. Legitimate power is the belief that someone has the formal right to make a demand. This can be seen in CEOs and even our everyday professors. A positive of this is that there is a clear source of power. However, a negative is that it can be easily abused. Reward power is the ability to compensate someone for their compliance. For example, when your mom takes you out for ice cream for getting a good grade. A positive is that it encourages you to do well. However, it can lose its power if they are reoccurring and using the same rewards all over again. Expert power is based on someone's skills or knowledge. A positive of this is that you can teach others your skills and your knowledge. However, you can lose your power by using too much power on others. Referent power is a result of someone's perceived attractiveness or their right to others' respect. Oprah is a great example of this, as she is an inspiration towards others, which is a positive of this power. However, it has taken her much time to gather this respect. Most successful leaders have a combination of expert power and referent power. Coercive power is punishing others for noncompliance. This can be seen when you steal something and get arrested. A positive of this is that it forces compliance. However, it can cause much backlash. On the other hand, informational power is used when one person has specific information and has complete control over it. This can be seen with project managers. A positive of this is that one person controls the information and everything is organized. However, it can also cause much conflict. These 6 types of power all play a role in the early stages of a conflict and can often make an existing conflict worse. So now you know some of the triggers of conflict and the way that power functions during a conflict. Let's close the loop and look at 2 processes that affect the resolution of a conflict. One-upping and mind reading are 2 of the most common pitfalls in the resolution process. An example of mind reading is when I call home to tell my mom I'm stressed, and she tells me that I'm putting my extracurriculars too much in front of my schoolwork. This causes a lot of frustration for me because it makes me feel like my mom is presuming my feelings, which causes me much frustration and much conflict between the two of us. On the other hand, one-upping can be seen when you're talking with your friend about your day. You tell them that you failed a class and that you're really upset, and instead of them validating your feelings, they go ahead and make it seem like their day was a lot worse. This causes a lot of frustration between the two of you and can often lead to conflict. It is important to understand and be able to identify the common triggers, power structures, and pitfalls. Oftentimes, we can't avoid these. However, it's important to understand them when trying to resolve conflict. Another important aspect in resolving conflict is understanding your own conflict management style, as well as the conflict management style of others. As you can see, the competing style indicates a high concern for self and a low concern for others. These individuals often resolve the conflict for the benefit of themselves and are not willing to give up much for the other party. This can be seen when your mom pulls the "I'm the boss" card and only accepts her opinions. Moving on to avoiding, this indicates a low concern for self and a low concern for others. This can be seen when you get a bad grade and you refrain from telling your mom because you know that will upset her, causing tension between you two. From the collaborating style, this indicates a high concern for self and other, indicating investment in conflict and/or the relationship. Individuals expressing this style are willing to give up their needs for the needs of others to resolve the conflict. Collaboration occurs when you want to go visit your friend for their birthday, but your mom will only let you go for an hour. You accept the decision because you know that even though that's your friend's birthday, your mom needs you to help clean the house. Lastly, the accommodating style indicates a low concern for self and a high concern for others, viewed as passive. Those who are using an accommodating style to manage conflict often give up a lot of what they desire in order to come to an agreement with the other party. This is demonstrated when your mom is expressing her authority and you do not fight back. In some cases, there may be a presence of a conflict management sequence, sometimes also called a pseudo-style, because there are combinations of the primary styles that we discuss, except they don't have the strength of one of the other styles. The two pseudo-styles that are most common are reactive and compromising. A reactive sequence has a long period of accommodating or avoidant that abruptly turns to competitive and then reverts back to the accommodating or avoidant styles. Here's how this pseudo-style works. Those who utilize reactive sequences tend to express passive-aggressive behavior and even excessive self-disclosure while trying to come to a resolution. They often express a feeling of regret or shame and quickly revert to their primary style. A compromising sequence has less depth than collaborating, giving up more than competitive but less than accommodating, often expressed by meeting halfway or sharing with another person. This may seem like a good choice, but really, collaborating is what we want. Compromising doesn't solve the conflict with creative solutions. It's usually a stopgap that's trying to avoid having a legitimate conflict. Understanding the different causes of conflict and the various management styles as well as sequences can really help you in the next time you have a conflict. I hope this video was useful, and please refer back to it when you have a conflict next.